What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react to some recent developments around the very controversial decision by Canada to purchase Swedish fighter jets instead of only American fighter jets. How dare you? What's your problem, Canada? Are our jets not good enough for you? That's my impression of the US government right about now. I mean, I really think that the only ones who actually believe that this is a controversial decision is mostly the United States. Because we just don't like that we are not your number one exclusive pick for this. That's right. We've officially entered like clingy, crazy ex-girlfriend mode or ex-boyfriend. Either can be pretty crazy, so whichever you prefer. But so today, I really want to check out this video here and learn about where Canada and the US currently stand on this. And, if this is going to grow into a bigger issue, because it kind of seems like that's the direction it's headed. So let's take a look.
The Pentagon's patience with Canada is over, even if still coded in the language of diplomacy. Senior officials telling journalists on background the Canadian government's delays and lack of transparency around its ongoing F-35 review are just one example of the prioritization of politics over our shared responsibility for North America's defense.
What? This is so rich coming from the American government. That is, even as an American, I can objectively look at this and be like, is that not one of the most hypocritical things you've ever heard? Oh, it's Canada that's not being transparent about your decision making. It's Canada prioritizing stupid politics over our shared responsibility of North American defense. Give me a break. That is that is like the perfect description of how Donald Trump and the US government has been doing all of its decision making based on stupid politics and emotions. And our government is one of the least transparent about our decision making. So the fact that this is a quote from our side, like that's angry at the Canadian government for this kind of stuff, that's rich. That's good. Wow.
In short, they'd prefer Canada buy the planned order of 88 sophisticated fighter jets from the U.S. We're committed to 30 already, but the Carney government launched a review more than a year ago.
So are we committed to 88 or are we committed to 30? Because that's like was it just like a verbal like commitment to do 80? But given what's happened in like the last year or more, is it that insane to think Canada might have had second thoughts about purchasing some of its most important military equipment from the United States? What on earth would give you that idea? Why would you ever have second thoughts about buying stuff from us? What if we... It's just so... I don't know. I guess it's just disturbing to me because it just shows a total lack of awareness, self-awareness by the US, by our government. They just can't wrap their head around how Canada might not want to buy our military, our F-35 jets anymore. We can't imagine one reason why that would be.
It's done. But amid a trade war, no decision on the F-35s has been made. Instead, for months, the government has mulled buying Swedish Gripen combat aircraft.
I've heard a little bit about this before. This was like the big dramatic controversial decision by Canada to I, I think they're committing to buying the Swedish fighter jets. These are the Gripen models. Apparently they are like extremely comparable to American F-35s. Maybe worse at some things, but actually better at some other things. So, uh, and it's also just like this whole situation. I made the crazy ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend remark, and I really mean that because it's like the United States, we feel like possessive over Canada. Like we have some kind of ownership or say over what you guys do or what your destiny is or what you decide for yourselves, what is best for you. Like we have some kind of big say in that. We can give our opinion, we can have some say, but that's where it ends. But so this like attitude of like this hostile attitude towards Canada for this decision, especially given everything we have done to sort of break the trust between our countries. I don't like it one bit.
The Swedes promise they'd build them in Canada. The Pentagon wants a decision to be made soon.
And we're like demanding a decision on this. Well, then it's probably not going to be the decision you want. If you're going to demand, you're not even trying to be polite about this. Like I said before, because I think the U.S. government and the military is mad about this because we don't like when things don't go our way. It's like a child kind of kicking and screaming. It's like, but you caused this, really. Um, the Swedish Gripen jets, they're gonna manufacture those in Canada. That's kind of that's a big deal. That's like a huge perk. You better believe the United States would never allow F-35s to be manufactured in Canada over our dead body. That's what I think they'd say. So that's actually really like cool. Sweden is allowing that. It's going to create jobs in Canada. It's just like more comfortable from a national security standpoint. Making your fighter jets in your country, it makes all the sense in the world.
But Stephen Fuhr, the federal liberal in charge of defense procurement, says there is no rush.
We haven't slowed anything down. We have contractual commitments with Lockheed Martin for 16 aircraft. We have purchased long lead items for an additional 14. So we're in for 30 airplanes, and we will decide. We'll make a decision on what the full picture looks like when we're ready to make it.
Soon, not soon, no one is saying, not publicly anyway. Is Canada using it as a bargaining chip in trade talks?
Is Canada using its decision on this as leverage? Like Canada could say, if we strike this in this kind of deal, we will commit to buying the F-35s? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that goes into the decision making. I suppose it's possible. That's just another reason why it'd be nice for the trade negotiations, the big trade deal, the CUSMA, the big Canada-US trade deal, for that to kind of be settled and done with. Because all this, it does feel like, mostly from the American side, that all sorts of things are now free game to use as bargaining chips and leverage against the other. Like I did a video recently about the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Like how the US is like holding it hostage, not allowing it to open, which kind of feels like a threat or a way of negotiating that is being used for trade, but we're like stopping a bridge, a huge Canadian asset from being opened and used. And that's just one example of like kind of disturbing sort of things that are happening around this situation.
No one will say. So, we visited NORAD, the cross-border, decades-old defense body which protects North American airspace. Whatever plane Canada buys, this will be its primary mission.
The key is they need to be interoperable.
Gregory Guillot is a U.S.
Okay.
Air Force general, the top commander at NORAD. He says what matters most is whatever plane Canada buys, it must be able to work alongside other existing aircraft, including the F-35 being flown now by the Americans.
You, I think the United States has had it our way for so long. We like don't know how to process this information. It's like we're just saying things like, well, whatever you purchase better work with us. It's like it probably, for one thing, it probably does. Because all of this once you get to this level of military jet, it's all pretty much state of the art equipment, cutting edge. The US isn't the only country in the world that can do that. Um, so it's kind of an arrogant statement to be like, well, it better work with our better work with our stuff. Like it will. Like, and are you saying that any ally we have has to use the F-35? I don't think he's saying quite that, but it's like, I don't know. That's the feeling you almost get. Like, it just everything has to be the America's way. Has to be our way, the way we want it.
Interoperability is what brings the strength to
Which maybe in the past wasn't so big of an issue with people like our allies, like Canada and people around the world. Maybe that wasn't such a big deal buying a lot of American military stuff, whatever. When we had a lot of trust, it's like Trump truly, this is how you know he didn't think for a second about the real ramifications of going to battle with Canada, starting the trade war, doing the tariffs, threatening Canada's leadership and sovereignty, and insulting Canadians. Like, he didn't think any of that would have any kind of real world consequence. This is a perfect example. Now, not surprisingly, when people don't like you, they're not going to buy your stuff. Like, it's very simple, actually.
NORAD, where we can interchange aircraft across the border or fly together in the same formation to conduct the mission.
But there is a major technological difference. Canada's CF-18s, originally bought in the 1980s, are considered fourth-generation fighters. So too are the Swedish Gripen planes Canada might buy to replace them.
Okay. The Swedish jets Canada might buy are Generation 4, and I'm guessing we're going to say the American jets are Generation 5, so none of it's compatible. Is that the argument?
The stealth F-35 is fifth generation, with
Of course it is. Of course it is. Because isn't it interesting how that works? We get to determine that, We could just like put a sticker on it that says fourth generation and like put in the equipment it needs to be sure. If my iPhone can communicate with like a sixth generation iPhone from 10 years ago, I think they can figure out how to make the billion-dollar jets talk to each other.
with more advanced surveillance capabilities.
Is there anything that, say, a fifth generation, in this case an F-35, can do in the NORAD role that other aircraft available to you do not?
Day to day, very little, but if you look at our contingency operations and wartime operations, the F-35 sensor suite, its radar ability to take in data from all sorts of sources, makes it one of a kind.
Don't get me wrong. For the most part, I'm a pretty proud American, except for things about our government that I don't agree with at all. So I'm sure our F-35 Generation 5 jets are pretty awesome. Pretty well done. I hope so. But I'm just saying it's also very convenient that they're not compatible with like every other jet in the world now, is what we're saying. Like that's very convenient for us. So I don't know.
Superior to anything else that's out there.
Anything else that I've seen in that role, yes.
Down the hall from General Guillot is his deputy, Canadian Lieutenant General Ian Huddleston. Like his boss, he's clear that the purchase decision is political, so politicians will decide. But people like him will have to implement it.
This lieutenant in NORAD is saying it's a political decision, which I guess it's kind of hard to admit that because you at the end of the day want to think like Canada, the US, we're all making these decisions based on what's the best piece of equipment? What's the best to protect our country and our people? Objectively, what's the best technology? You would hope that's the decision-making process, but even the military members are saying it's all a real political game,
The Americans operate
which is pretty disturbing.
fourth and fifth generation fleets, but they have a much larger air force than Canada does. We're a much smaller country. Is it as easy for the RCAF, for instance, to operate a dual generation fleet?
I mean, I was the commander of 1st Canadian Air Division, and the answer is no. Personnel-wise, I mean, you've seen the Auditor General reports.
Sure, I mean, objectively, operating a fleet of jets that are all different models doesn't really make sense, I guess, unless certain models are better at certain things and you want the flexibility, or I could see that being true at the same time, but is it needlessly complicated? So is Canada like splitting the difference too much here? Should he just buy all Swedish or all American? Maybe.
They are stark in their assessment of our capabilities. Our fighter force has been struggling for a number of years, and it's going to take a while for it to recover, is the fundamental answer to your question.
Huddleston is just echoing what others have warned. The Air Force is short of personnel, 20% short of those who maintain the planes, up to 33% short on pilots, jobs that are
Wow.
often specific to one plane, meaning having
Sure.
both some F-35s and some Gripens will be hard for the military to even staff.
So this is objectively like needlessly complex for Canada. To me, that just shows how passionate Canada is about not embracing the United States like maybe you once did, which I think from a statement point of view, that's perfectly fine and actually understandable. Um, but from a practical point of view, it does sound like maybe you should just be going with all one type of model jet if you're having stabbing issues, and that might mean going all Swedish, or if it has to be all American, but maybe just like tearing off the band-aid and doing one or the other. Maybe that was the best way to go.
When you look not just at the aircraft, but the people itself, can we support fourth and fifth together at once?
Technically, yes, but the resource bill is really the challenge. When you come down to it, the people, that's the key challenge.
For all the talk from the Pentagon that Canada is not meeting its commitments at NORAD, it's the opposite message.
I've never had a challenge with aircraft availability on either side. Both the Royal Canadian Air Force and the U.S. Air Force do a fantastic job of maintaining new and old fighters.
Cool.
We've never had a problem with inability to deliver aircraft or exceedingly high maintenance rates.
But the longer it is
What? That's weird. It's like the Canadian officer was kind of arguing for one type of model jet, and the American officer was like, "Yeah, Canada could do both. Like it'd be fine." So I'm getting mixed messaging here.
decision on the F-35s is delayed, the harder that may be to keep up.
So the decision's being delayed, and we said that's probably because maybe this situation is some kind of bargaining chip because of the crazy political situation between Canada and the US. This whole thing just makes me hate politics. And but I think I go back to the foundation of this whole thing on the most basic level. It's the United States that started this whole stupid situation. So it seems like Canada is kind of grappling with like being practical about this while also standing up for your values and standing up for yourselves, which I see as a difficult sort of thing to balance. And it's just so stupid that the US started this whole situation and that these types of decisions even have to be made because it seems just to be hurting everyone. Really. We were both countries were just much better off probably before all this madness that we started. So, yeah. I'm glad to be up to date on this because it does seem like this situation is getting bigger than I even realized. So I guess we'll see because the decision still has to be made. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on this F-35 American versus Swedish jet decision by Canada, the politics, and your thoughts. If as a Canadian, that'd be interesting to hear your perspective on this. So, if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian things that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.